Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. Today we're going to talk about something that's happening, and although it's slowly happening, you understand, but it is happening, and it's important to talk about it and why even that's not working. Let me explain. Today, you will have girls, and they say, well, I do want a working boy. Now, it's unfortunate that today, if you say learning, they only accept that term if you're learning full-time. If you're in any way working, especially if you have a job, even if it's only for half a day, which, whatever it is, you understand? Then they call you a working boy. They don't allow you to say a learning boy. So, first of all, allowing the enemy to dictate your terms is the first mistake in war. If the enemy could say, you could only fight here, you understand? And you let them dictate the terms, you have a high chance to fail. So to allow the system to dictate what you're called is a mistake. So first of all, you cannot allow them to call you a working boy. And you cannot allow them to call you a learning boy. You do not agree to be called according to the terms. You need to correct. It's either the shadchan, the person you're speaking to, your parents, whoever it is, respectfully, of course, but you need to correct it. You need to say, my goal is to be balanced. I'm a balanced person. That's it. There's learning, there's working, there's many aspects of life. Caring about your spouse, caring about your kids, taking care of them. There are many aspects in life. You cannot allow yourself to be dictated by the enemy. Whether they realize they're the enemy or not doesn't make a difference. The fact is, the truth is, they are the enemy. Just because someone is not smart enough to realize they're the enemy doesn't make them now not the enemy. Certainly, if they do realize it, they do realize what they're doing, and they're intentionally doing it, of course, how much more so not to allow them? There are enemies that you have to fight, and then there are enemies that try to destroy you mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. They try to corrode your common sense. That you should understand social norms, that you should understand how this world works. It's different than heaven and it's different than hell. This world is a different place. What happens here is completely, it works in a complete different realm, in a complete different way. Yes, a person isn't here forever. He has a limited time. But while people are here, each generation, while they're here, this world is, it could be heaven, it could be hell, it could be in between, it could be 3% this, 1% that. This world is like clay. It could be. It is what you make of it. You understand? And you need to understand your times where you are. Not. It doesn't help that you know how heaven works. It doesn't help that you know how hell works. You need to understand this world if you want to succeed and you want others to succeed. So there are these girls. It's slowly growing, rear and far in between. But there are these girls that actually, they say they want a working boy, and they actually keep to it, even after the parents try to force them and push them to marrying a learning boy. There are some that even at a young age, they want a working boy and you can't change their mind. Now, for all intents and purposes, we don't use those terms. Those are terms of the Sitra Akra. You understand, of the Satan. These are not terms that holy people use. Holy people, they look at the person's soul as the person's, what he really wants, his intentions, you understand? And his good acts, his good deeds. And someone wanting to support his family is one of the holiest things. You understand? Today, practically, in most scenarios, the parents need to have that want, not just the boy, but the girl as well. Of course, the girl is her role is much less than the man's role, but practically today you need both in the beginning for sure. Now, if a girl doesn't want to do it and she wants to wait 5, 10, 15 years, that's her prerogative, that's her choice. But I'm talking about people that want to get married young and have children at a young age. You understand? This is practically what they need to do. To support a family, it takes two. It takes two. It's very enjoyable, especially if you follow what we're saying, and the kids are happy and they become productive, not just spiritually, but physically as well, financially as well. They become adults because they take on responsibility. And it's a beautiful thing. So getting back, there are quite a few girls that even at a young age, they want a working boy. Now the system keeps pushing them to want someone that's learning full-time. It's true, especially the ones that are beautiful, they push that they should want someone learning full-time. And so just because this year they're open to marrying someone learning doesn't mean next year they will be, because the system's pressure is upon them. Their mother, their father, the Rav, the Rebbetzin, the Rebbe, the Chacham, whoever it is, the brothers, the sisters, the society that they're living in, their neighbors, their friends, is all pushing them towards the learning boy. So one should know that yes, it's rare, but that it should stay that way is also, you don't have a lot of time. Their minds will be brainwashed. That is the normal. Yes, there are exceptions, people that don't, you understand? But I'm talking about the normal. Reality is their minds will be brainwashed. But now I'm talking about the girl that at the moment, she wants a working boy. She hasn't been brainwashed, or she's the type of person that won't be brainwashed, whatever it may be. She was lucky enough to find our shiurim or someone similar to us that's talking the truth. And now she's able to find the truth and finally able to find the love of her life and have a good, happy life. And have children that are not that don't stay children for the rest of their life. You have to support them, but they became self-sufficient. Holy people, spiritual people, kind people. These girls as well, if you talk to them or you hear them speaking, they're also saying, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to get married? In fact, to a certain extent, if you say you want, not just to a certain extent, to a very big extent, if you say you want a learning boy, the whole system is there to help you succeed in that. Even with all that, there's so much failure. There's endless failure. But I'm talking about the little success that there is, it's all pushed there. But if a girl wants someone that's learning, as we just mentioned, the parents will go against you. You'll just get all the Jewish speakers will talk about learning full time, and you'll feel that the fact that you want, let's just say the truth, the fact that you want someone balanced, you understand, someone that's that's balanced. He's learning, he's working, He's a mensch, you understand? He's a good person. He'll be a good father. He'll be a good spouse, a good husband, a good wife. This is unfortunately not what they're looking at. So unfortunately, I know many girls that they're already almost 40. Many of them over 40. Many of them almost turning 30. And that they wanted someone working, but the system doesn't want to allow that to succeed, because then it shows their falsehood. That you could also be balanced and have success. They don't want people to see that. They want people to think you could only have success, you could only have a family, you could only get married young if you go with the system of learning full-time. They want to make you think that that is Yiddishkeit. So, in one aspect, the girls that actually want what the system would call a working boy, what we call a balanced person, those girls don't see themselves getting married. And their question is why? Why is that happening? Now, of course, we just explained, a very big reason why. But that aspect, there's nothing you could do. You understand? You can't control other people. You can't control the system. If they're off, it's not in your power to get them back on. You understand? So that's not where your hishtadlus is. Where is your hishtadlus? Where does your effort count? And if your effort counts in a certain area, then Hashem wants you to do that effort, and then Hashem will do the rest. You understand? Where does it lie? Because hishtadlus, a person putting in his effort, doing what he can do, that's what Hashem expects of you. After that, Hashem does the rest. So to sit and change all the Rabbanim and Rebbitzins and Rashivas and Chachams and Mashpiyim and Rebbas and V'chulei, act, your parents, you understand, your neighbors, you're not empowered to do that. So that's not part of your hishtadlus. It's not part of your effort that Hashem expects of you. So if that's the case, then why isn't it happening? What am I doing wrong? We will discuss it a bit. It's true that, yes, you understood that someone balanced is the prize. You understand? Yes, you realize that true. We're not talking about a woman that is, unique. Just like there's a Reb Chaim Kanievsky, she's sort of the female version, wanting that. You understand? It's a different scenario. You understand? You understand? Just because there's an exception to the rule doesn't mean now you hurt all the regular people, all the normal people. Everybody else gets hurt because there's an exception to the rule. That is incorrect. So, the girl is wondering, why am I not getting married? Yes, I'm saying now I want a balanced boy. We're not going to use their terms. We're not going to allow them to control us when they try to say learning, working. I want a balanced boy. Sharmi Torah mitzvahs, a nice person, understanding, empathetic, would make a great father. Yes, he's not 50 years old. He doesn't have 50 years of experience, you understand? He doesn't have 10, 20, 30 years of experience, but he knows a lot and he wants to succeed, and he'll learn on the go, you understand? He or she. When you marry someone, it doesn't mean that they're perfect, but it means that the direction that you want to go in, they want to go in as well. to be spiritually successful, financially successful, successful in your marriage, with your kids, and your character trait, in your love and devotion towards Hashem, towards your spouse, towards your kids, towards other people. So the girl that's saying, yes, now I realize my mistake. I want a balanced person. They won't allow you to say it. They're going to say, I've literally heard them. Is it working? Is it learning? Is it working? Is it learning? Just ignore that person. If they can't understand it, don't waste your energy explaining it. Find someone that does understand it. You understand? So what? What's missing? What's the mistake? And the answer is that, yes, you finally came to the understanding that a balanced boy is what almost everybody needs, and you're part of normal society. You understand? And that's what you need, and that's what you'll have the biggest connection to Hashem, the biggest love for your spouse, for your husband, for your wife, for your kids, for your nation, for mankind. You'll be happy in your life. Yes, you realize that, but what you don't realize is that the false system that you came from is not just attacking you in one way. Whether they realize what they're doing or not doesn't make a difference. The fact is they're attacking you. If someone, right, is feeding you and you're allergic to something, it doesn't make a difference whether they realize it or not. You're allergic to it. It could kill you. You understand? It can make you have rashes. It doesn't make a difference if the person realizes what they're doing is good or bad. It doesn't make a difference. For you, practically, you can't follow them. Even if they think they're the most holiest person for what they're doing, it doesn't make a difference. Even if everybody thinks they're the most holiest person for what they're doing, it doesn't make a difference. Why? Because it's poisonous. So they're 30 years old, they're 35, they're 40, and they finally, hopefully it's right away at a young age, you understand? Hopefully they have parents that have listened to this, or other people like that speak the truth, and they actually create a society that wants balanced kids, you understand? You're not an enemy, today, you have a, right, you have submarines, you have different types of jets and planes, aircraft carriers. When someone attacks, you have to realize they don't attack in one way. They attack you in multiple ways, because that's how they overpower you. So even if you get out on this end, you're still being attacked in 5 different ways. You understand? And in that way, they make sure you're failure. So the only way to win is to understand. You need to think about your life, and we're going to discuss some things. I'm not going to claim that I know everything, that your scenario, you have to look at your scenario, you have to be smart, but we're going to talk about it, but you have to know for yourself. You have to be able to think, look at your scenario, and you need to see how you're being attacked. And then you need to fight off each one to succeed. Because if the enemy is coming at you in 10 different ways, and you only fight 2 of the ways or 1 of the ways, you're going to fail. You need to fight off all 10. So let's discuss, for these great girls that understand the truth, they would be awesome wives, but they just can't get married. And they need to focus on their hishtadlus, their effort, where it does make a difference. You're not going to change the system. You could try to make a community, not just try, you could make a community that follows the truth, what we discuss, you understand? That you could do. But it's very hard to do that before you got married, you understand? And if you and these places right now really, like, I don't know if they exist. You understand? So what does the girl do? What does the girl practically do? The answer is, don't focus things that are out of your power. Focus where your effort does matter, where your shtadlus does matter. That's what Hashem wants you to do. And Hashem doesn't allow evil to envelop you to such an extent that you're lost. So there is a way. There is a method. The question is, what is it? What should I do? And I'll be honest, we have discussed it, but we'll try to reiterate it. And more importantly, give you the power to think about it yourself. Because again, people are in different scenarios. So, what could people practically do? What could this amazing girl practically do? And the answer is just like Kyle becomes a 4-letter word, resume when it comes to marriage. I'm not talking when it comes to business. We've discussed how that works when it comes to business, but when it comes to marriage is different. Even after you met the person, if you need to ask a resume, then it's already not for you. You understand? Marriage is it's a soul connection, and if it's not there, a resume doesn't help. A resume works when you met someone, and now you just want to double check, and that could be part of the double checking. You understand? But marrying someone is not, it's higher. It's higher than finding a good work person. It's a higher thing. It's way higher. It's a different level. We're talking about souls connecting. A person connecting to another person. It's a different level. And if you meet a person and it's not there, a resume is not going to help. Now, when you meet a person and then you like, you meet their family, you meet their friends, you hang out with them. You understand? You go on this date, that date. You meet different parts of their family, their friends. That's fine. And then sometimes you don't feel it right away, but after you meet a few times, or you met their friends or their family members, or you understand their rabbi or rebbitzin, the rebbe, the chacham or shiva, whatever it may be, the mashpia, whatever it may be, that could, because you might be missing something. You understand? So that could be. But resume, marrying someone is, you're going to be living with them. You need to experience their life and see if that fits with you. A resume doesn't make you experience their life, and therefore it cannot be used. When you hire a worker, you need to know one thing: not who they're married to, not their family structure. There's one thing you need to know: can they do the task that needs to be done? That's it. That's it. There's no soul connection happening here. That's not something that now there are good working places, you understand, and but it's still not what we call marriage. It's not that. Marriage is very high, and if you cannot know, if you do not understand and feel that you should be marrying this person, now it could be you're having a mistake and you need to work on yourself. You understand? We're not saying that's not true. That could be true, absolutely. But you need to come to the level. You need to work on yourself. That by meeting the person, by hanging around with them, by meeting their family, by taking them on dates, by you being around with them, because remember, this person you're going to live with for the rest of your life. You need to be able to live under the same roof. You're going to be in the same room. You understand? You're going to be intimate with each other. You need to feel a calmness, a security, a happiness being around that person. A loving careness. Not strenuous, not controlling. I understand that in the girls' schools they teach the girls, you're a chray, you're responsible on your husband's kedusha, on his holiness. No. A man doesn't want to be married to a policewoman. He wants to be married to a spouse. It's one of the biggest causes of divorces today. That, what we just said. A man wakes up and the woman's all of a sudden bossing him around, telling him what to do, constantly reprimanding him, suggesting this, suggesting that, nonstop. Telling him, no, you can't do this, that's wrong. Thinking that this is like her doll, she has to take care of it. He doesn't need you to take care of it. He needs you to love him. He needs you to respect him. And vice versa. You show by example, and your spouse won't learn everything from you, but they'll learn a darn lot from you. Doesn't help trying to force them. Doesn't do much. So the first thing that a woman needs to know, she came to the realization, I'm looking for someone balanced. Why amn't I getting married? She needs to realize resume has to be looked at like a 4-letter word. That's what you need to realize. You need to meet people, and you have to, and if you have this attitude that a frum boy or a frum girl, even if they're about tshuva, you understand, and you're thinking about going out with them, they're about tshuva, they're already a few years about tshuva, you understand. You thinking about them in this negative way, thinking about your nation, half of your nation, in a negative way, Because if you're a girl and you're looking at boys in the negative way, then you're thinking about half your nation in a negative way. If you're a boy and you're thinking about girls in a negative way, then you're thinking about half your nation in a negative way. This is being disloyal to your nation. And what's even more important is it's a lie. It's a falsehood. Jewish boys are the biggest prize in the world. And when you as a woman are thinking of them in this evil way, it's horrible. It's disgraceful. It's disdainful. It's evil. It's wrong. It's a lie. And this in and of itself could be the reason why you're not getting married. This lie that you're living in. That you can't even go on a coffee date. You can't meet them. They can't, however it is, if they meet you at your parents' house, if they take you to a breakfast, whatever it is, you can't even meet them because you question your safety. This from everything, this is one of the main causes of you not getting married. Resume must become a 4-letter word. You have to think. If you're a boy, think of girls. But now we're talking about girls. If you're a girl, you have to think of boys in a good light. It doesn't mean that when you meet them, that now you don't look how they treat the waitress, how they treat other people, how they talk. It doesn't mean you don't look at that. Of course, you double check. When you spend time with them, you see how they act. Don't just focus on how they treat you, but look how they treat other people when you're with them. This is one of the main reasons. And if a girl would overcome this and say, I'm going to meet a person. Resume is a 4-letter word, and when it comes to marrying someone, a resume is not used. This is not the workplace. This is not a business. This is a kesher nafshi. This is a soul connection. This is two people becoming one, going under the same roof, in the same room, connecting on every level in life. This is different. You need to see, is it happy to be with this person? Am I happy to be with them? Are they pleasant? Are they pleasant to me? Are they pleasant to other people? Do they have class? Do they have charm? Do they have good character traits? Are they holy people? This is one of the biggest things. Next thing. The girls say, I want a boy that davens 3 times a day and has a chavrusa. So if the girl was thinking a balanced boy when she was, 18, 20, that wouldn't be so hard. Why? Because the boy didn't have to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years or more to get married. But when a boy has to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the girls are ruthless. You understand? They'll wait to the last second to take you. If that. Most of them will be stubborn and never change. That's why we speak strongly. We say this truth as it is. So if you hear the truth, you have a chance of changing. If people water it down, if they don't say the whole truth, they'll never get out of the falsehood. So that's why we say it. So you have to realize that if you made someone wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years or more, they're not going to be the same way that they were when they were 18 or 20. They're not going to be the same person. They will be wiser. They'll have a wider knowledge, but they might not go to minyan every day. They might miss in a day this Shacharis, a Mincha, or Ma'ariv. You understand? Why? Because they're broken inside. You broke them for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And emotionally, they can't do that. It's too much stress on them with all the other stress that they have of not being married and not having kids. And the nation hating them because they're working. Feeling like a cast out person. They're just trying to not lose the love of Hashem in their life. And to keep on chazering, reviewing in their mind that this is not Hashem, this is people's own ideas that they pushed onto Yiddishkeit, and unfortunately those type of people are the ones that are controlling Yiddishkeit today. They keep on chazering that they shouldn't lose Ahavas Hashem, love of Hashem. And they don't have unlimited energy, and they can't succeed in everything. That's first of all. Second of all, they say they want you to have a chavrusa. They want to be able to call the chavrusa. And all different types of things that they want when it comes to that. You have to realize that there are many different ways to learn. There are people that a chavrusa works very well with them. There are other people that they like to learn solo. There are other people that they like to listen to shiurim. You understand? There are different types of learning, different ways to learn. And you also have to take into account that these boys, by you girls, have been beaten. By the system, they have been beaten. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, in every way. The system beats them. So, although they would like to learn Daf Yomi, although they would like to learn a lot more, they physically can't because of the petrification, the fear of not having a spouse, of not having kids, of everybody looking down upon them. It's difficult. It limits their ability to learn. Now, if a person's completely not learning, completely disconnected, that's one thing. But if the person tries to do what they could do, and you have to understand, first of all, there's different ways that people learn. That's first of all. And second of all, when someone is being attacked, They're in defense mode. They're limited. They can't just walk like everybody else. They're being attacked. They're in defense mode. They're protecting themselves, protecting from Yiddishkeit ruining their love of God, their love of Hashem. Not what real Yiddishkeit is, but this fake Yiddishkeit. They're protecting themselves that the system shouldn't destroy them to the point that they're not going to keep Shabbos, that they're not going to keep kosher. They want Hashem, but they're in protective mode. They need to protect themselves. When you marry them, they will open up slowly but surely. If you don't pester them, they will daven more times. They will learn more. But right now, they're in a war. They're one person, and their parents, the negativity of their parents, of their siblings, of the system, is all coming against them. When they try to meet a shadchan, how they're treated. So disrespectful. So disrespectful. So when a person, he has a shield up because he doesn't want to lose the love of Hashem, and then you're like, well, you don't daven every day 3 times a day. Do you daven every day 3 times a day? Do you have a chavrusa? Are you learning? You don't realize that you are part of the cause why they can't learn as much as they want. Emotionally, they can't. They don't have the emotional stamina to learn as much as they would like to because of the pain that's associated with Judaism. Not because that's what Judaism has a flaw, but because people put their own ideas into Judaism. They use Judaism just like Christianity uses Judaism to create their own religion. The so-called righteous people of today, they do the same thing. They use Judaism to create their own religion, to reflect their own ideas, and not God's ideas. You have Muslims. They use Judaism to create their own religion, and look what they do. They do terror over the whole world. So these people, they're not Christians, they're not Muslims, but they're doing the same thing. They're using Judaism to promote their ideas or their father's ideas, or you understand? And then they claim that that's Judaism. They claim that that's Messiah, that that's tradition. And most people are not wise enough and intelligent enough and don't even have practically time to argue with them and fix it. And they're the ones running Judaism. Unfortunately. Instead of saying, is he davening 3 times a day? See if he's connected to God. Instead of saying, is he learning with a chavrusa? Is he learning X amount of time every day? Say, does he want to learn? Is he learning something? Does he have a baldarsha that he likes to listen to? That's good enough. A certain sefer he likes to learn. That's good enough. If he's completely doesn't pray to God at all, completely doesn't learn at all, nothing, no listening, no nothing, that's a different scenario. But 99% of the cases, that is 99.99999%, that is not what's happening. They're doing what they feel they could do, because they're limited. When your city's being attacked, when you as a person are being attacked, you have limited resources. You don't have unlimited resources. You're limited. And there's only so much you could do. And the girls need to realize this. When you marry him, whatever he's now, the great person, the nice person that he is now, the loyal person that he is now, he will just blossom so much, because now he's not alone in the fight. Now he broke through the blockade that's been surrounding him, that's been siphoning all the water, not allowing any food to come in. The blockade, you broke through. You feel freedom. And that, you as a woman, is what you're going to give to a man today. The youth, a young boy, or someone a bit older. That's what you're giving to him. Freedom. Freedom to finally be able to learn more, to daven more, to be even a better person. Until now, they're just trying to stay alive, not become depressed, full of melancholy, hate of God, hate of this world, become suicidal. Their energy is being used to not lose the goodness inside of them, that the system is trying to destroy them. The fact that you see that they're still a nice person, the fact that you see that they still pray to Hashem, the fact that you see they still try to learn to the ability that they can, that just shows so much. It shows how special they are. Because imagine, most people, the parents are attacking them, they just feel it in the ear. The parents are upset at them. They're embarrassed about them. Their siblings are embarrassed about them. They're not respected at all. The system, the rabbis, they're all speaking against them. How you're some type of subhuman. Like there's humankind, and then there's the Nachash HaKadmoni. You understand? That's how they're painting him. And with all that, he still wants to keep Shabbos, he still wants to keep kosher, he still wants to have a Jewish wife, he wants to have Taras HaMishpacha. With all that, and all you could do is just be negative and say, well, he's not davening 3 times a day, he's not learning Bechavrus, he's not learning X amount of hours every day. That's all you can see. You are a traitor to your nation. You are a traitor. And you need to quickly amend your ways, fix them. Because on this world you could get away with almost anything. But on the next world, the truth reigns supreme. And you will be embarrassed for all eternity for thinking like this, for not realizing how special the boys are. A Jewish boy is so special. He's loyal, he's faithful, he's caring. He doesn't beat his wife. He's so special, he's spiritual. He's so special. And all you could do is try to find something negative. That's all you could do. And you miss all his greatness. And that's why you can't get married. Because you're this person. You are the living Satan. There's the Satan that's the angel, and then he has people that personify him in this world, and that's who you are. And that's why you can't get married, while the boys are like, whoa, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Because they see the monster that you are. And you're such a monster that you don't even allow boys to even get close, to even try to take you out, this, that. You say resume, you say davening 3 times a day, you say learning with the chavrusa, learning this or that. This is just the surface. All the things that they want. No, you have to agree to live in this place. You're already trying to control him even before you got married. You're already trying to be a control freak even before you got married. You have to live with my parents live. It's not the way life works. You can have a preference, but you need to discuss. You know, I saw this girl that Hashem literally sent her an amazing shidduch. Everything she was looking for. You understand? But there was one thing. He wanted to live in Eretz Yisrael. She wanted to live in America. And she broke the shidduch because he wouldn't agree to live in America. And she's still single today. When girls have this level of stupidity, of nonsense, of false emunah, how do they expect to get married? How do they expect to stay married? How do they expect to be a wife, to be a mother, with such stupidity? It's borderlining on evil. And this girl there was everything wrong with her. And for some odd reason, he liked her. I don't understand it. But it's one thing if a girl is skinny, a nice person, is not controlling, doesn't switch. In 2 seconds, she could switch from being nice to being evil. You understand? To being a monster. So you have a girl that's skinny, beautiful, young, a nice person, in and out, completely, all the time. And she says, and she makes a condition, you need to live in America or in Israel. You understand? It's still wrong. But there you could see it. But when you have someone that's fat, someone that they're nice now, but in 2 seconds they could be the meanest person. They're older. Everything wrong. And even those girls that should know better, because of their predicament, they're so arrogant that even those girls will push off the shidduch. And then they'll complain that they're not getting married. And Hashem literally gave them on a silver platter. But because it wasn't exactly what they wanted, they push it away. They push the blessing of Hashem away, and then they think that Hashem is going to help them after they pushed away God's blessing. Imagine I give you $100,000 to get you completely out of debt, and then you throw it back at me, and then you say, don't worry, you'll give it to me again. No, I won't. That's what they do with God. And God is so kind that he sends them another one, and they do the same thing. It's a different aspect that's not perfect. In their mind, what's considered perfect. And even if it wasn't perfect, welcome to the world. Nothing on this world is perfect. This is not heaven, it's not hell. This world is what you make of it. There's tons of imperfections. And you got to pick the best that you can get. And people don't like to admit that. They would rather use faith to say, I'll push away this awesome boy that for some odd reason loves me, even though I'm fat and ugly and could be very mean. I'll push all that away. For some reason he wants to marry me. I'll push that away Why? Because he's not davening 3 times a day. He doesn't have a chavrusa. He's not learning X amount of hours a day. He doesn't want to live in America. He doesn't want to live in Eretz Yisrael. And they think that that's emunah. I'll have belief that Hashem, I'll have emunah, I'll have trust in God, that He will send me someone that fits all of these things. This is apikarsis. It's worse than apikarsis. Why? Apikarsis means your claim is that God doesn't exist. That's terrible. But here, it's worse. Your claim, you know God exists. You're not claiming otherwise. But you're saying God has to dance to my tune. You don't see all the goodness in Him, in her. You don't see it. Because you're so negative that all you could do is focus on the one area that He's weak in. That's all. Or the one thing that you want it to be this way, and it's not. And you and your foolishness think that's emunah. That's having belief in God that I could say no to this awesome shidduch that He sends me, to this $100,000 that He wants to give me. I could throw it back in His face, and He'll give it to me in the way that I want it later. And Hashem does send you something, but then it's a different aspect. You have to limit. You have to think what's really important. And what's really important is much less than what your parents are trying to make you think is important, than what your moras, rabbeim, rebbes, chachams, yeshivas, mashpiyim, whoever they are. It's much, much less. Is he going to be loyal? Is he going to treat me nice? Will I have a happy life with him? Is he spiritual? Is he connected to God? That's it. As a Jew, are you keeping kosher? Keeping Shabbos? You're going to have Taras HaMishpacha? All these small details are irrelevant. Irrelevant. All the small details are for you, that you should work on yourself to do it. Not that your whole life is thinking about how your spouse, how your child is supposed to do it, while you just get worse and worse. It's for you to focus on it, that you should become better. You should be a police person on yourself. Not that you're police on everybody else, and you yourself keep getting worse and worse and worse. We've said a lot. And I know this, girls are very prideful, but I did not, and it's hard for them. A man, it's easier. You could just tell him the truth and he'll take it. A woman is very prideful, and she'll just self-destruct herself, like Vashti. She knows she grew a tail. She knows she has all these pimples. She's ugly. But she's prideful and she cannot admit it. And she goes out looking like that because she cannot admit it. Now, in that scenario, I think she did refuse, but she wanted to go out. I don't know, there's different. Did she go out? Did she not? Whatever it is, you understand? Women are very prideful. And that pride is what's destroying your life. Because your teachers never told you to work on your pride. In fact, they encouraged it. They told you, you are achrei on your husband's kedusha. They encouraged you to be prideful instead of taking that pride and teaching you how to utilize it in the correct form, in the correct way. And to not allow it to be destructive in your life. To use that pride, to have pride for your religion, to have pride for other women, and for the other half of your nation, the men. To have pride that you're a Jew. To have pride for God. To have pride for righteousness, for goodness. To have pride for your kids and want to do everything you can for them. To have pride for your husband and treat him nicely and kindly. Not that he has to initiate everything, but you initiate a lot yourself as well. That's why Hashem, God, the Lord, that's why He made it that the way it works is if the man initiates, normally what comes out of that is a female. But if the woman initiates, then she gets a male, comes out of that. This is the norm of how things work. And in life, you want a man, you want a woman. And your husband initiates, you initiate. Have pride for your marriage. Don't allow those evil forces to make you look down at your man because he wants to be balanced, because he wants to take care of his family. Now he's looked at as evil. No, he has to be learning full time. Don't allow them to do that. Don't allow them to do that to your kids. No, he's 18. Why is he starting to work? He should be learning. Don't allow them to do that. No, he needs to start to work. Now, when he turns 18, he needs to start to have a steady job or to open up a business. You know, there's people that they do best working for someone. There's people that do best opening up a business, whatever it may be. You need to have pride for your husband, for your kids, for your boys, for your girls. I don't want my girl to marry a nerd that all he knows how to do is read books. He has no understanding of life. He has no sense of responsibility. He needs to be balanced. I want her to marry someone that's successful physically and spiritually. Today it's the other way, spiritually and physically and financially. It doesn't mean he has to be Bill Gates. It doesn't mean he has to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Especially when someone's young, when someone just entered the working force, you understand? It takes time to build up. And you need to see that person's potential for success, not exactly what they're doing right now. Now they could be making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But you see that they're tichtig, they're intelligent, they're smart, they understand things. And eventually they will be making more. Especially with your loving hand on them. There's so much happiness. that is there for the taking. With all the badness of the system, there is such ample space for a girl to get married young, to have a happy life, to marry a high-level person, not some nerd. Reads books, can figure out the halacha but has zero understanding of life. There's so much potential. It's there. It's not hard. Just push away the resume. Push away all these limitations that they try to push on you. It's in the thing. You have to sign up. Do you care if he's learning 3 times a day? It should not. If he's davening 3 times a day, it should not be something that you look at. Is he learning b'chavrusa? Is he learning X amount of hours? Is he a spiritual person? Does he want God? That's what's important. You have people that are learning full time, but they since they're not balanced, they hate Judaism because they're not Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and they're not Mrs. Kanievsky either. And maybe it's good that you're not, because most 99.99% of people aren't. So you're with the normal. It would be actually a problem if you were, because now we have to find someone that fits you. You should be happy that you're part of the normal people, and you have to stop imagining yourself to be Rav Chaim Kanievsky or Mrs. Kanievsky. You have to stop imagining that. Stop hurting yourself. Stop being arrogant and thinking that you could compare yourself to Rabbi Kanievsky or Mrs. Kanievsky. To Rabbi Shach or Mrs. Shach. Stop being arrogant. If girls would just do this, they could get married young, have happy lives, successful lives, good kids, everything. And such a wonderful world that Hashem gave us. All these first world countries. People could have such success spiritually, financially, physically, everything, maritable life, kids, everything. But they throw it all away. Because of the brainwash of the system. And you can't keep blaming the system when now you're intelligible, you're intelligent enough to understand the mistake. And as an adult, when you turn 18 or even a few years before, you should be able to understand the mistake. And you need to change. You need to take that time to change. Yes, the system is to blame for causing you to have to change this. You should already been brought up the correct way. True. But the system doesn't control you as an adult. As an adult, Hashem has given you the brain powers to realize the mistakes. Has given you the brain power to not go with the falsehood. So, just blaming the system and never changing is what stupid people do. Is what losers do. You need to change. And I know it's difficult. Especially for girls. Girls, whatever they're taught at a young age, they just lock into that and self-destruct. You understand? So girls have to work harder at this. But it's very doable. And what's beautiful about it is Hashem made it that the truth sinks quick with a person. if you do it. If you think about it, evil, if you think about it, sinks quick. Truth, if you do it, sinks quick with you. So you need to physically do it. You need to physically go out with a boy without a resume. Your friend suggested it. The shadchan suggested it. Your parents suggested it. Yes, you might want to see a picture before, because unfortunately, in this, they could send you out with some weirdo, so you want to see a picture before, but you go out. You go out. You need to physically do the truth. If you physically do the truth, you will quickly sink to the truth. It will be much, much easier to change. It will come naturally. You just have to do it. And if the first one is a good boy, don't think I'm going to get a better one. If you understand that you're going to have a happy life with this person, get married. You have to stop thinking about Elon Musk. You have to stop thinking about Rav Chaim Kanievsky. You have to stop thinking about Reb Shach. About your Rebbe. About this. You have to stop thinking about that. Do you think that you'll be happy with this person? That's it. That's it. People get all confused with honor and this and that. Yichus. Such nonsense. Such stupidity. And they get so focused on all these side things that they end up marrying a monster. And I do want to mention another thing. We've talked a lot about the mindset and how that needs to change, but there's also physically. If a girl's fat, she needs to change that. And if she just doesn't feel, she doesn't think she can, she's living in a holy place, the Jewish world, where there are many, many men that will marry someone fat. And to them, that's beautiful. There is a lot of men like that. Is it the majority? No, not going to lie to you. But is there a good minority of men like this? Yes. And you need to realize that. And you have to be extra flexible because the fact that you're fat, the fact that you're very short, the fact that you're ugly. There's people that are skinny, but they're ugly. The skin is very bad. You need to realize that. And since you are living on Admas Kodesh, on holy ground, you are living on holy ground. You're a Jew. You're living in Judaism. You can marry a Jew because you're a Jew. You're living on Admas Kodesh, holy ground. Take off your shoes. Take off your socks. Realize, stand on the holy ground. Realize where you are. There are tons of men that would marry fat girls. Tons. Girls that look atrocious. They'll marry them. But when you limit it, you say, I'm only going to marry someone Litvish. But there's so many Hasidish men that don't understand what beauty means. And to them, you're beautiful. And that's perfect. But you lock yourself. You say, since I'm Litvish, I'm only going to marry Litvish. Or vice versa. Since I'm Hasidish, I'm only going to marry Hasidish. Or since I'm Sephardi, I'm only going to marry Sephardi. Even for a girl that's beautiful and nice and everything, she shouldn't lock herself into Litvish, into Hasidish, into Sephardi. That's a big mistake why a lot of girls are not getting married, because they lock themselves into a group and their shidduch is in a different group. The people that are interested in them are in a different group. Your group, all the men are already married. Most of them are. You need to go to a different group. But when you're fat, you have another reason why to be even less pushy about the fact of marrying someone in your own group. And then you have people in their own groups, I'm only going to marry this type of literature, this type of chassid, this type of Sephardi. Such nonsense. We're all children of Hashem. If you're attracted to her, you like her, if she likes you, that's it. Get married. If you think you're going to have a happy life together, get married. Love each other. Have kids. Have a family. Be happy. Stop throwing away your happiness because of what people will say, what people will do, the hearsay. And it's important to remember, the point is that you should get married, not that you should have a huge wedding. It's nice if you could have a huge wedding, but it's gotten out of control. The point is you should get married. Especially when you get older, people lose the right to even say they want a big wedding. First of all, they never had the right, but especially when you get older. Or a second marriage. And even when you're younger. The point is to get married. That's the point. How we've seen so many marriages get pushed off because the big wedding isn't going to be. So sad. So sad. And for the girls, I think that feel that they can change. They have, the inner strength to change, to start changing things. Stop eating white sugar. Stop eating mezainis. You have to eat wheat. Is just we don't digest it so well. Whole wheat, spelt, rye. You understand? Oat. Stop stuffing yourself with garbage. You don't have to be eating every second of the day. Even when you have a salad, sometimes you see that they have this bowl of salad, but it's healthy, yeah, but that much isn't. You have to start eating less. The only thing that's going to change your weight is changing how you eat. And if you're living with parents, then you need to tell them, listen, if it's not cooked this way, I can't eat it. So let me know if you're able to do it. If you're not, I'll cook. You understand? But I cannot. I'll cook what I could eat. But you cannot. People are being fed garbage. And not everybody's body is able to take in this garbage and stay skinny. Not too long ago, the norm was everybody was skinny. It was very rare to find someone fat. Why? They didn't eat garbage. Today, this epidemic of people being fat is getting more and more and more. People have no self-control. People cannot change their eating habits. And that's why you're fat. You're eating unhealthy. You have bad eating habits. You're eating way too much. You're not exercising. You're not happy with yourself. And your whole body is completely messed up. And that's why it's blowing up. And parents, that you have kids. When the kids are young, you don't have to allow them to stuff their faces that when they're 8 years old, they have the weight of a 20-year-old. You don't have to allow them to do that. It's very easy to control what they eat. And they could get in the habit of eating healthy and eating in a moderate way. And they'll be skinny for the rest of their life. They will not have this sickness of fatness. It's a very doable, capable thing to conquer. But as in everything in life, you need to decide that you want to do it. Someone could tell you everything, lifestyle, everything of how you could lose all this weight within a year or two. But if you don't do it, you don't get anywhere. Get good shoes, good sneakers, so you could walk. Don't care about people. You have to have this type of black shoe, this, that. Don't care about what they say. You need to get good shoes and start walking. Hopefully, thus, allowing ourselves to hear the truth. Because remember, I'm not speaking to you directly. I don't know who's listening to this. So you don't have to feel like that's why I'm able to talk a bit more freely, because if I'm speaking to someone face to face, I have to say things in a different way. But when I'm talking to the camera, right, I'm not speaking to you directly. I don't know who's listening to it. And so you shouldn't feel like you're being, pride ruins a person a lot. It ruins their life. But your pride shouldn't stop you from hearing this truth, because I'm not even, this is a camera. I'm speaking to a camera, then I download it. You understand? I didn't say it to your face. Even if I did, you should work on yourself to hear the truth. And of course, I have to learn how to say, if I was speaking to someone directly, I would say things in a different way, a little more delicate, I'd still have to say the truth, but I would say things in a more delicate way, not so just, I just spit it out. You understand? But you have to realize I'm not speaking to you directly. So even though your pride might be very high, but don't allow your pride to fool you into making you think that I shouldn't listen to him because he's speaking to me. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you. I don't even know who you are. I don't know who's listening to this. It's your own choice to listen to it. You could listen to this share that I gave or that share. You could choose what you want. You could listen to nothing. You could give a bad comment. You could give a minus. We would hope that that you hype the video, that you give thumbs up on the video, that you subscribe. We hope for the best, but you can do whatever you want. You understand? It's your choice. Nothing here is so right now that your pride might be very high. You shouldn't feel, your pride shouldn't stop you from the truth, because I'm not speaking to you directly. I don't even know who I'm speaking to. You understand? So you should be at ease and be able to just take the truth, and this could be a way that you could start to have drastic changes. You become more healthier, you become a person that could be married. You understand? You get married, you start having success in your life. You start being financially successful, pay your taxes, become a human being. Start to think about people in a positive way. And even though, In this year, I do point out the negative way in which people are acting. However, when I meet someone in the street, I think positive. And then I say, let me double check. You understand? But I think positive. It doesn't mean I'm foolish and I don't realize the reality. But when I meet people, I think of them positively. Whether it's true or not, I think of them positively. Whether most people are good or not, I think people are good. And then I double check. So that's how I could say that, and at the same time in my shir talk about this negativity that's destroying people's lives. This false ideology that's destroying people's life. This is how I could talk about it. Because when I see a person, I don't think of them in that way. I think positively of them, but I double check. And that's the way you need to work. Goodness should flow forth from you. Just like Gan Eden, right? The four rivers that come out of Gan Eden on this earth. Gan Eden, holiness, brings blessing. The biggest blessing is water. Without water, everything dries up, everything dies. There is no chance of existence. Spirituality brings the water. It brings goodness. It brings positivity. It brings happiness, wealth, success, marriages, happy marriages, good kids. Real spirituality brings all the blessings. The rivers shoot forth in all the four natures, in all the four aspects of life, in everything. That's a sign of true spirituality. When it shoots forth blessing, when it shoots forth goodness, when it shoots forth positivity. Doesn't mean you don't double check, but your initial way that you look is positive. You're innocent until proven guilty. You're good until proven bad. Not the opposite. You're evil until proven good. You're guilty until proven innocent, which is the way unfortunately the system works. No. You're innocent until proven guilty. And not only that, you're good until proven evil. Positive eyes, holy eyes, eyes that when you look at people, you bring blessing into their life because of how you see positivity in them, how you see godliness in them. And that it makes a different atmosphere in the world, in your presence. When people are in your presence, they feel motivated to become better, to be positive, to be holy, to be godly, to be successful, to be balanced. May we become a blessing. A blessing. May we become Gan Eden. May we become a source that blessing flows through us to the entire world. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.